is 75 years old. Before the genocide, he was a carpenter. He is married and has 7 children. All his parents and siblings were killed in the genocide. He is Tutsi. Ezekiel is 40 years old. His parents, who were farmers, died of illness when he was 10 years old. Then he was cared for by his sister and grandmother. Ezekiel attended primary school, but didn't go to high school because there was no money for school fees after his parents died. In 1963, when he was around 30 years old, Gerard was sent to prison for 6 months for being a Tutsi. In prison, he was tortured by worry for his family. He feared they would all be killed. A Hutu family member advocated for him until he was released from prison. Things got worse and worse for Tutsis after that. Just before the genocide, there was increasing violence. Regularly, people stole his cows and goats, and he feared even worse violence. Gerard's wife was a Hutu. She took their children into hiding. Gerard escaped to the Congo. Gerard's brother was married to a Hutu who was killed for marrying a Tutsi. Gerard's youngest brother was also married to a Hutu. They were both killed. Gerard's wife and children survived. In the 1990s, the political parties all said that Tutsis were attacking the country, and that Tutsis in the country were aligned with the enemy. So the young people all listened to the political leaders. They were taught to know the enemy. They believed that the Tutsis in the country were the enemy. The army gave them guns. It was very easy to see the Tutsis as the enemy, since even in primary school, he had been taught that it was important to know who was Tutsi and who was Hutu. Teachers would say, "All Tutsis stand up. All Hutus stand up." Ezekiel was Gerard's neighbor. He had been a good friend of Gerard, but during the genocide, he helped hunt for Gerard's brother. Ezekiel ran with a gang that killed Gerard's brother and burned Gerard's home. Ezekiel said, "We were trying to kill every Tutsi, but thankfully Gerard was not found. We thought that killing Tutsis was something good." In Ezekiel's gang, there were adults and boys, around 50 people. When the RFP took power, Ezekiel was 17 years old. At that point, the gang broke up, and Ezekiel fled to the Congo. In hiding in the Congo, Gerard worried about his family. He also feared Hutus living nearby in the Congo. When he heard that the RFP had taken power, he returned to Rwanda. He had been in the Congo for 2 weeks. When Gerard returned home, there were dead bodies everywhere. The stench was awful. The RFP government welcomed Tutsis back and was encouraging Hutus to return as well. The country was empty. In order to have peace, the government encouraged both Hutus and Tutsis to come home and live together. When Gerard came home, he sent a message to his wife and children to return. All his other relatives had been killed. When Ezekiel returned to his village, he was afraid of seeing survivors. Gerard and Ezekiel didn't see each other until 1996. It was very hard to look at each other. Very quickly, Ezekiel was put in jail. He stayed there for 10 years. While in jail, Ezekiel was encouraged to tell the truth about what he had done. He did, and his sentence was reduced. He was tried as a juvenile. Instead of 10 years, he was given 7. In 2003, the president gave amnesty, and he was released. In 2008 and 2009, Ezekiel and Gerard participated in Gacaca. During Gacaca, Ezekiel felt he had to tell the truth because everyone there really already knew. Gerard knew what happened because he had seen it with his own eyes. When he was in hiding, he had seen his brothers killed, only 5 meters away. The Gacaca court was a mix of Hutus and Tutsi. Even though Ezekiel asked for forgiveness, he found it hard to be Gerard's neighbor. It wasn't easy to talk because he was ashamed. Trainers came from Ihumure to ask them, "How does it feel to be neighbors? Would you like to learn to live together?" Ezekiel saw this as an opportunity. At Ihumure's workshop, the first thing he noticed was that Gerard and other survivors were present. As the workshop proceeded, he began to trust the others, to have positive feelings. He told his wife he had spent several days with survivors and it was peaceful. Then things really changed. Ezekiel learned to trust. Gerard said he had learned to forgive. He wishes everyone could have this experience. Ezekiel said he learned to listen and also to forgive. He learned to do things with others in the community as a way of living together peacefully. Ezekiel feels people outside Rwanda need to understand that the politics of Rwanda have changed. The politics of Rwanda after the genocide unites people. Ezekiel believes that today Rwanda has politics and policy that unites people and helps the poor, the elderly, without regard to whether they are Hutu or Tutsi. Ezekiel said Gacaca teaches that if people want to solve problems, they should sit in a circle to find the solution themselves. This would prevent many cases going to court. In a circle, there are no secrets. Each is free to give their thoughts. That is why Gacaca helped the country. In Gacaca, at the end of the process, there is a common understanding. People are hugging. This is why Ezekiel recommends Gacaca to other countries. Gerard said he agrees with Ezekiel. He is glad they went through Gacaca. Gerard says, "Without being friends, we couldn't come here. In our village, we share everything.